The most dangerous sin isn't always loud or violent. It doesn't crash into your life like theft, murder, or betrayal. No, it hides behind success, cloaked in compliments and accomplishments. It's the sin that turned heaven's brightest angel into hell's darkest enemy. It's pride. And what's terrifying is, you might be feeding it right now. Pride doesn't arrive with a warning label. It feels like confidence. It looks like victory. You rise, you achieve. And slowly, subtly, you start to believe you did it all on your own. But the moment you crown yourself as the author of your success, you've already fallen. Pride always blinds before it breaks. It makes kings feel divine, warriors feel invincible, and the rich forget the giver of all things. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Stack a few wins and suddenly God becomes an afterthought. The higher you climb, the more you forget who gave you the legs to stand. You think you built this empire alone? What if I told you the very success you're proud of might be the rope that brings you down? Your ego is a silent executioner. It makes you think you're the master when you're really just a vessel. The wins? They're blessings. The failures? They're classrooms. But to truly see this, your faith must be deeper than your pride. We cry out to God when we're broken, but when things go right, we ghost Him, then wonder why the cycle repeats. Why does God humble us? Is He insecure? Far from it. He loves us too much to let pride poison our souls. So sometimes He brings us low, not to punish, but to protect, to remind us who we are and who He is. We live in a world that glorifies self. Believe in yourself, manifest your destiny. You are enough. But that mindset isn't freedom. It's the same trap that led to the first fall. Jesus said, "Deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me." That sounds radical today. Why? Because we've diluted Christianity until sacrifice sounds like oppression and obedience sounds like weakness. Still not convinced pride is dangerous? Let's rewind to the beginning. Lucifer wasn't just any angel. He was one of the most radiant, powerful beings God created. But when he looked at his reflection, instead of giving glory to the Creator, he glorified himself. "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High," he said. That was the moment pride took root, and God cast him down like lightning, from angel to adversary, from beauty to brokenness. And now, he whispers the same rebellion into our ears. Exalt yourself. Take what you want. You don't need God. It's the same deception, repackaged. Pride is the thread that runs through every great downfall. Just look at King Nebuchadnezzar. The man built Babylon, the most powerful empire of his time. One day, standing on his palace roof, he declared, "Is not this the great Babylon I have built by my power and for my glory?" And in that very moment, God humbled him. He lost his mind, living like an animal for 7 years, until he finally looked up and said, "The Most High rules." But not all pride is loud. Sometimes it whispers in comparison and entitlement. Remember the parable of the prodigal son? Everyone talks about the rebellious younger son, but the older brother, he's where subtle pride hides. He obeyed, stayed, served. But when his lost brother came home and was celebrated, bitterness filled his heart. "I deserved more," he thought. That's pride too, not in rebellion, but in entitlement. And entitlement kills gratitude. Or look at the Pharisee and the tax collector. The Pharisee stood proud in the temple, listing his good deeds like trophies. "I fast, I give. I'm not like those sinners." But the tax collector stood at a distance, head bowed, whispering, "Have mercy on me, a sinner." And Jesus said it was the humble man who went home justified. So how do we destroy pride before it destroys us? Jesus gave us 3 tools: fasting, giving, and prayer. But only one directly kills pride at its root: prayer. Prayer is surrender. It reminds us we're not in control, that every breath is borrowed, that without God we are dust. Pride thrives in self-sufficiency, but prayer demolishes the illusion that you are enough by yourself. The strongest men in the Bible weren't those who stood tallest, they were those who bowed the lowest. David, Moses, Paul, They ruled nations, wrote laws, planted churches, and yet they constantly fell to their knees. Even Jesus, the King of Kings, washed his disciples' feet. If he could humble himself, how can we walk around with puffed up chests? So check your heart, because whether you like it or not, God will humble the proud. The only question is, will you learn through wisdom or through pain? Choose humility now, before pride chooses your downfall.